Hi, everybody. Bryan Broaddus here, and welcome to The Stack, our weekly look at all things NFL draft, all things rumors, all things speculation, all things about to happen. Zach Wolchuk with me today. Aisha Morrison is on assignment today, so send some love to Aisha on socials if you would. This time next week, we're going to be talking about the first round of the NFL draft being over.
It's crazy.
And there's a lot of folks that are talking about that they think that this first round is going to be chaotic with some trades, some up. Listen, let me say this. Every time they tell me it's going to be chaotic, it's never chaotic.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to know as we open the show, if you had to crystal ball this thing a week from now and say, wow, Broaddus, that was wild what happened. Or it's exactly what I thought, or man, I didn't see that coming. Which lane of the highway are you driving on for that?
I think probably more I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be, whether it's maybe there aren't a ton of trades and teams stick and pick and it ends up being like some offensive tackle goes that we didn't think was going to go, or maybe you get a wow trade. Like the Chiefs could be a team that moves up maybe. Maybe they want to go be aggressive, or whoever it ends up being. I think there'll be something that happens. It's like, man, I didn't see that coming. Whether it was a player that goes in the top 10 that we didn't really think should or didn't see coming, or it's a big trade. I'm fascinated by, does the trade stuff actually come to fruition? Does this end up being a lot of teams just going to say we're going to stay and pick, and then we're going to wait and see how the board falls, or do we actually see a lot of moving around during the top 10?
The thing that I wonder, Zach, is that how many teams are really open for business? The one team that's talked about it is Cleveland, and that was several weeks ago. That was like at the Combine. Yeah, we're open, give us a call. We want to move back. And then Andrew Berryden's like, well, we're just not going to give the pick away.
Yeah.
And now you're like, wait a minute, bro. Are you going to move back, or what are you doing here? And I really wonder how many teams are open for business. I wonder if Arizona is really open for business. I wonder if Tennessee is really open for business. The Giants, in doing work with them, I think the Giants are going to sit in and make a pick.
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants are interested in moving back. Then we start to get to the Browns. Well, general manager from the Browns told us he's moving, but I'm not giving away the pick. And then you get to the Commanders, you get to the Saints. And I just wonder how many teams you really, and that used to be my job before the draft, was to call teams. And, Jerry and Steven would say, hey, Bryan, make sure you let teams know that if you want to talk to us, we're available. We'll Cowboys will listen to any deal, up or back. Dallas will listen to anything. But I just wonder how many teams really are open for business. And I wonder if we're getting to the point now where Dallas is just going to sit there and make a pick.
Yeah.
Have we over, and I had somebody in the comments say, you guys talk about you're beating the dead horse about the trade up. What about the trade back? Well, the trade back's cool. That's always a possibility. But who are people trading up for? I can make a point in a case to trade up for some people in the top 10.
Yeah.
I can make a case for that. I don't know if I can make a case to trade up to 20. I don't. I think because we've done some work on this channel. We've done some work, whether it's the Doing All Right, the Stack. We've taken you to 20, made a pick. We've taken you to 39, made a pick.
Yep.
And the picks we made at 39, totally on board with.
Yeah.
Totally on board with
Feel
some
pretty good about 39, the same as you do about 20.
So, to me, who is I could see trying to go up for somebody in the top 10. I could see standing there and making a pick at 20.
Yeah.
I could see that. But if you want to move back, I just don't know if anybody wants to come up to my pick at 20. I mean, now, how much?
Sure.
And you're going to tell me you got to get ahead of the Steelers for a quarterback.
And do you? Like, they might have screwed you today by saying there's buzz that they're not going to take a quarterback in round 1.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, then I'm not scared about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think the only thing is, do you get a run on tackles, which I do think is going to happen. I think Aisha has been on, offensive players with wide receivers. I think it's going to happen with the offensive tackles.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be sitting in there at the Star in Frisco looking at each other like, there goes Monroe Freeling.
Yeah.
There goes Blake Miller.
Yeah.
Max Ianachor from, Arizona State.
I'd trade up for him. Man.
Yeah, I think these guys are going to end up being. I think Fano is going to go in the top 10 from Utah. Like, I think these guys are going to end up going higher than we think. So maybe you get that run. Could you benefit from that? Could a team say, okay, I got to go up to 20 now? I'm starting to see these tackles come off the board. I need to go get my guy in that regard. But otherwise, yeah, it's like, who are the players? Who is the player that a team wants to move up for?
Yeah. I think, like I said, I think moving up into the teens is more viable than moving
in 20.
I'm going to read you a mock draft. You tell me what you think about this mock draft. I think you know this mock draft. I'm going to read you a mock. It's going to be 10 players.
Okay.
And you tell me what you think. Mendoza, Reese, Bailey to the Cardinals.
Okay.
Bain to the Titans.
It's a surprise.
Mawanoa to the Giants.
Okay.
Fano to the Browns. We're not trading here, by the way. We're
staying pick.
Love to the Commanders. Tate to the Saints. Tyson to the Chiefs.
Okay.
Delane to Cincinnati.
Wow.
First impression.
I don't know about the pick at 4 there. Bain to the Titans. I've seen no go for Bain to the Titans, and I buy into the love.
The love
for Tennessee. I think Washington, that's the floor. I think that's the farthest he's going to fall. I think Washington would love to get Jeremiah Love. Heck, there's reports Jordan Renan, who I respect from the Giants, covers them for ESPN. If he's on the board at 5.
They're the Giants. I think the Giants are in play at a couple of spots I think the Giants. That's why I don't think the Giants are going to move.
No, they're going to have. There's 100% going to be a player they like there.
Absolutely.
Whether it's Love, whether it's Mawanoa, whether it's Styles or Downs. But now that's your biggest. And Joseph Hoyt, I think, has an article about this on the Morning News. This is why I've been pushing and beating the drum. I think you could be patient and you can wait, and maybe you're rewarded by that. And a Downs falls to you at 12, or a Styles falls to you at 12. I think you're going to be kicking yourself if you have a situation like last year. And you were okay last year, right? Because you take Tyler Booker, and that ended up being a good pick. But the Tedero McMillan thing, and we were leading up to it. We're thinking there's no way McMillan's going to make it to 12. Yeah. There is a scenario where you get Tyson goes to Kansas City. Tate goes to Cleveland. Maybe Mekhi Lemon can go to New Orleans if they want a wide receiver.
So you're saying maybe 3 wide receivers in the top 10?
I think 3 wide receivers, 2 offensive linemen.
Wow.
And that can help you.
That absolutely helps.
That would help
if you're
you.
A Cowboy fan. It absolutely. And by the way, if you're watching this from another team, your team got better with some of the guys you picked.
Sure. Yeah. Like if you go Mendoza 1 to the Raiders, that's happening.
Yeah.
Let's say Reese goes 2 to the Jets.
Yeah.
You mentioned Bailey to Arizona. That makes sense. 3. I'm going to go Love to Tennessee.
Okay.
I'm fine with Mawanoa to the Giants at 5.
Matter of fact, when I was on with the Giants the other day, that's who I gave them. They said, give us a guy at 5. I said, just solved your right guard problem.
It's a great pick.
Mawanoa.
It's a great pick for them. Tate to the Browns there at 6, I think makes sense. Or maybe they go Spencer Fano.
Yeah.
Maybe, I'll put Fano. They need a lineman. I'll put Fano there at 6. Yeah. So 7, Washington takes Carnell Tate.
Yeah.
Who I think a comp is Terry McLaurin for him.
Yeah.
So that would make sense. At 8, New Orleans, maybe they go Mekhi Lemon or they go Ruben Bain. 9, Tyson. There's a lot of, and today's a big day. As we're recording today, Jordan Tyson's going to do his workout.
Right.
This is a big day for Jordan Tyson.
Right.
He can secure himself, I think, a top 10 selection if all goes well. The problem is Cincinnati and Miami. And I've been trying to get a read on both of these. And Cincinnati's, I think, going to snipe one of these guys that you want. And Miami, asking around Miami circles, it's like it's boring, but it's truly BPA. They have so many needs. Now, they could also say there's a run on wide receivers now. Let's pull the trigger on Omar Cooper Jr., one of these guys goes way higher, and that helps the Cowboys. So there are scenarios where, and I'm sure the Cowboys have done this exercise, and they're feeling good, like, you know what, we're going to get one of these guys at 12, whether it's Delane, Styles, Downs, we're going to be okay. To me, I think you're going to be really ticked off if you gamble on it and it doesn't go your way. Because now you're going to sit there at 12, and what are you going to do? I mean, I'm fine with Colton Hood, but I don't feel as good as if I could have gotten one of these other guys.
Are you – and I asked Foch Lombardi this question when we were working. And I asked him, are you preparing yourself for maybe them taking a guy at 12 that you're not as high on? Are you preparing yourself for them sitting there? And we – listen, nothing – against Falk.
Sure. Yeah.
I just know me personally, I kind of feel like they've got that kind of player already. I kind of feel like, and maybe at 6'6" and 285, he develops bend and all this stuff as a pass rusher. But you've got guys that, well, maybe he'll never be a double-digit sack guy. Okay. I think we kind of got those guys, right?
Yes.
Isn't that kind of who you've already got?
Well, especially, I don't think he's playing stand-up edge for the Cowboys.
No, but see, that's what I'm saying.
So,
though.
What's that doing for you?
What's that doing for you? But I'm preparing myself.
Yeah.
I'm preparing myself that all of a sudden they're sitting there and they'll take a guy like Falk. And then I'll go, okay, I get it. I understand what they're trying to do here. Do I like it? No. Would I be upset? A little bit. But that's kind of where I wanted to take the element of just sitting there and being at the mercy of the board, where I think they're comfortable with that. I think Dallas is comfortable with the mercy of the board.
Yeah.
Where you and I and others are like, no, we could go get Downs. We could go get Styles. We can maybe get Reese if he slides past the Giants. That's kind of where our mindset is. I think they're sitting in their room and they're totally okay with just taking whoever's there. I think they feel like having the 2-1s is the most important thing. They gave up one of the best players in the NFL for the opportunity to have 2-1s in Micah Parsons. They gave it up. They gave up Micah Parsons so they could have 2 first-round picks.
And with those 2, they feel like they can get a starter. 2 starters.
Yeah, I don't
and help contribute. I understand it.
Yeah.
It's going to make it a very anxious night 1 of the draft. And there is some fun there. I mean, I enjoyed it watching my guy Graham Barton slip to Dallas.
Yeah.
But then what happened? They didn't take Graham Barton. Now, it worked out. They traded back. They got an extra pick. They come away with Guyton and Beebe. Jury's still out on Guyton. Beebe's a good player, right? That's really the only time. I always expect them to take a guy it's not one of my guys.
Oh, no, that's the I'm just preparing myself to
I think you're right.
To have that moment where, like, especially if some of these really good drafting teams behind you start trading up. And then we start to get they gave up a 4th and a 5th, and you're going, they moved 8 spots for a 6th?
Yeah.
What? and then you're like, let's go to War Room Cam. What? They're just sitting there doing nothing. And you're into the phone and you're like, my God, somebody pick up the phone.
I know.
Somebody call and let's be one of those teams.
Because the bottom line is, it is a buyer's market.
It is.
And it really is. It's a buyer's market.
It really is.
That's why you've got Andrew Berry trying to do damage control.
Yeah.
And that's why you've got Adam Peters, which I wanted to ask you about, of Washington, who's like, I'd do an interdivision trade. Yeah. That's not going to bother me. It's because I think these teams are trying to generate better offers.
Sure they are.
They're not getting it right now.
Sure they are.
Because there's just not at the top of this draft the type of the quarterback, the tackle, the edge, unless somebody wants to go up to 3. Arizona might be the team that does it. Arizona might say, hey, we really want to take an offensive tackle. We don't want one of these guys here. We want a left tackle. These guys are right tackles. We'll bail out. Maybe Kansas City says, you know what, let's go get David Bailey.
Yeah.
Let's go get Arvell Reese, whoever the Jets don't take. Maybe that could be Dallas if the trade worked out well for them. I think for the edge, I think they do it for one of those. I think they might get aggressive and say, we like Bailey and Reese enough. Those could be the top guys on their board. Let's do it if the offer is right for us. The problem is you're right. I think teams might just say, you know what? Why do that? Why don't we just take that player instead of just sacrificing a deal that we don't think we're really getting the benefit on it on our end? But in your experience, I'm always because the Cowboys did this with Philly in the Micah draft.
Yeah.
They moved back. The Eagles jumped up to take Devontae Smith. The Eagles took Micah Parsons. So, I would
say Dallas won the trade.
They did.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick your brain
at the time,
about
Dallas won the trade.
Yeah. Well, now, and I still think they did, even trading Micah and getting that, if they can hit on these picks. But, trades within the division always fascinates me. Yeah. And these GMs seem like they are open to doing it.
You know what? At some of these places, you know why they're open to it? The guy at the Cowboys is not going anywhere. Yeah. So if you make a trade within the division, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to get fired for making a trade within the division. But what happens if you're one of these teams, though, you're a general manager that's got one foot in the parking lot and everybody's on your ass in the media about it and you're not doing a great job and everybody knows it? Sometimes you make a trade with whoever you have to make a trade with in order to keep your job. That's like a Chris Ballard in Indianapolis. He went out and got Sauce Gardner. Good for him. Now Sauce Gardner plays great and all that. It's going to look like a brilliant trade. But now, and I know it's not an interdivision trade, but there gets a point in time you will trade with anybody if it meant. And then the ramifications, say you give next year's one up to do this, then they fire you. That's somebody else's problem. That's not your problem anymore. Brian Gutekunst at Green Bay, you had a new team president, Mark Murphy, longtime team president, step down. And so you have a new president in who did not hire Gutekunst or did not hire the head coach. So all of a sudden, these guys at the time are thinking, Gutekunst is thinking, well, I give up 2 ones. That's so unlike Green Bay to give up 2 ones to get a player. And Gutekunst was probably thinking at the time, I got to do something to save my job. And if it doesn't work, then it's somebody else's problem. It's not my problem anymore. So to answer your question that way, if I'm a general manager who might have one foot in the parking lot, I will trade with anybody if it helps me keep my job. And that's, it sounds kind of weird, but it's in a team building way. You're like, if this guy helps me stay here another year, then I need to make this deal. And if it doesn't work, well, somebody else is gonna have to deal with the mess because I won't be here anymore. So I think the inter division trades, it depends on, like a guy like Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman will make an interdivision trade because he ain't going anywhere.
Right.
Jerry Jones ain't going anywhere. But if you're a general manager who might be getting fired, you could make that trade to try and save your job. I want to ask you this question. What are the teams, as you look at the first round, what are the teams that you could say with some degree of certainty that are behind you? The Rams, the Ravens, the Bucks, the Jets, the Lions, Vikings, Carolina. Then you're picking again. Who in that group could you see going up out of those teams? Who could you see trying to get in to 2, 3, 4, 5, wherever those areas?
The Rams, I feel like, are always the team. right? Like the Rams are F them picks. They'll be aggressive. If they see a guy that they want, they'll go get him, especially if it's, I mean, they've been linked to Mekhi Lemon. And if they like Lemon, I don't know that he's going to make it there. You know, you could get a run. So the Rams would always be number one.
Rams would, if you had to power rank them, I think the Rams would be a team you would absolutely have to say is going to be aggressive.
And then the Lions have proven to be an aggressive team.
They will overpay to move up a board.
And if they want one of these linemen and they start to see, you know, the run on the tackles, which I'm going to predict happens. You know, I think you're going to see these off. I think that's, we talk about the premium positions. That's one. And even though I think you and I are on the same page, we're like, I mean, I like Monroe Freeling from Georgia. I don't think he's a top 15 player.
Not top 15.
No. But in Blake Miller, I think he's a fringe first round guy at best, right, from Clemson. But I think these guys are still going to get pushed up the board because teams want true left tackles.
Right.
And so those might be your best ones in this class. Caden Proctor from Alabama, maybe he's thrown into that. So the Lions could be a team that's super aggressive. And I wonder about Minnesota. The one player that I can't get a feel for how the Cowboys feel about him is Dylan Thieneman.
Yeah, the safety from Oregon,
And everyone's linked Dylan Thieneman to the Vikings at 18.
Yeah. Because they're trying to replace
Harrison Smith. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe they also like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren from Toledo. That could be. And maybe we're just overthinking this one. But I wonder if Minnesota starts to get nervous and could a team, you know, maybe Dallas at 12. Maybe in league circles, they're like, no, the Cowboys actually, if they get wiped, Thieneman could be in play for them. I don't know that. I don't know that he's not. I don't think that he is, but he could be. Maybe Minnesota's a team. But if I had to power rank it, it'd be the Rams, Lions, and then I could see maybe the Vikings being a team that could possibly get aggressive. I think Baltimore, they're just a true stay-and-pick team, and they're usually rewarded by it. And Tampa Bay, I think, has enough holes to where I don't know. I don't see Tampa moving.
Sure.
But the Jets are always fascinating. I don't think the Jets want to give up any next year capital. So maybe this year they could look at it. But, yeah, I think I'd have to go Rams-Lions as the two.
Handicap. Now let's go back a little further in this draft. Chargers at 22, Philadelphia at 23, Chicago at 25, Buffalo at 26, San Francisco at 27. Need to see what all San Francisco has pick-wise. They might not have as much, but they have 58, which is worth 320 points. Houston and then Kansas City. Who out of that group do you see? And I should mention New England and Seattle. Is Philadelphia the odds-on favorite to be moving up if you were to try and make a big push? Could you see Sean Payton offering next year's one to get back in this thing?
I could, and I can see Arizona.
Yeah,
I do believe the Arizona Ty Simpson stuff. I don't think at 3 there's any hope in hell that happens.
Yeah, they're thinking about him more at 34. Well,
if he can make it, right?
34,
but I think to ensure that you get him, that would make a lot of sense to me for Arizona to move back in. You're Sean Payton's proven he's aggressive.
Sure.
If there's a guy that he wants, he'll go get that guy. And I think Kansas City at 29 is an interesting team because they're already picking there at 9. And so let's say they take the receiver. If you get a corner run and they want a DB, maybe that's a team that says, you know what, we need to go up to go and get Colton Hood. Or maybe they're okay with like a Chris Johnson slides to them there, but maybe they want to be aggressive. The other team that does stand out to me, I mean, Seattle, I think the Jadarian Price, he's been linked to them. That makes a ton of sense from Notre Dame. Maybe they can stay and get him. But I do think Philadelphia at 23, to your point, would be one. But San Francisco and Houston, I don't see. Kansas City and San Francisco, I think, are teams that could definitely be aggressive.
Let's think about the teams on the back end that do have second-round picks. Philadelphia does hold the pick 54. That's worth 360 points. The Chicago Bears, we'll see about them. That's a team they hold. I mentioned them at 25. They also have a pick at 57. That would be worth 330 points. San Francisco at 58. They have a second-round pick. That's worth 320. I mentioned Houston.
Yeah.
It's funny. Chicago, as I look at this, Chicago holds picks 57 and pick 60.
Okay.
So if you're Chicago, maybe you're a team, maybe you're looking at them and they're saying, if we could give up one of these twos, again, the point value is 330 points for their pick at 57, and their pick at 60 is worth 300. I look at Dallas, for example, Dallas's pick at 20 is worth 850 points, and Chicago's first round pick is worth 720. So if you do the quick math on that, that's what 130 point difference right there.
Yeah.
Also, like I say, Chicago does own pick 89 as well. That's a third round pick, and that's actually right before Dallas picks at 92. So there's some teams with second round picks that that if you want to try and hold somebody up, you know. Now, would you consider in this draft? For the folks out there that are interested in trading back, how far back are you willing to go? You are holding a pick at 20. Are you willing to leave 12? Are you willing to leave 12 to go past your pick at 20? Are you willing to take the Philadelphia pick at 23? Are you willing to take Chicago's pick? Again, these potentially are second round picks. That's 1,200 points, your value for pick 12. And so the teams I once again mentioned, Philadelphia at 760, Chicago at 720, Buffalo at 700. That's a pretty big, but would you be willing to drop to take one of those? Very similar to what you did in the draft. You went from 18 to
31
for the Travis Frederick deal.
Yeah, wow.
Had a chance to get a second round pick. You did, and you took a third. Are you interested in taking that kind of drop? Are you interested in taking 20 and say 25 in this draft?
Wow. Look, it would have to be an on the clock move because I need to ensure that Downs doesn't slide or Styles doesn't slide because I'm not moving off of that.
Gotcha.
If they're wiped, if the big six are gone, if I don't have Downs, if I don't have Styles, if I don't have Delane that slides, Ruben Bain Jr. I would take him in a heartbeat at 12. Right. I wonder if they would.
If as you sit right now, you're definitely out on. You're not you personally.
Yeah.
But you would report no McCoy. What would you report for Bain?
I don't think they're taking Bain at 12. Okay. I don't think so. I think the arm length is an issue. And now, maybe if it's a wiped situation and they can't trade back, it might be a different story. Maybe he is a guy that, depending on the circumstance, I think he's like a situationally based player, depending on what's going on there. But I'd lean towards no at 12 for Ruben Bain Jr., which means I kind of hope he goes. I hope Cincinnati takes it. One of these, because if he's not, then that's good. Then that's good for you. But if you get wiped at 12, I'm open to moving back. At 20. The options at 20 are just. It's so wide open. I mean, you're going to be talking about this at 20 and 24. I'd love to move back from 20. I think the dream is Caleb Downs falls to you at 12. You take Caleb Downs. You're on the clock at 20. Somebody's like, I want an offensive tackle. I don't want to risk Arizona taking Ty Simpson. Whatever happens, they move up. Now you can move back. Because at 20, I think a lot of the guys that I'd love them to pick, unless it's a Colton Hood from Tennessee, it's probably going to be too rich for them. So Malachi Lawrence, Jacob Rodriguez, one of these other corners, whether it's Pons or Rivers or Terrell from Clemson, I don't know that they'd go that route. Heck, even Jake Golday from Cincinnati, Anthony Hill Jr., I think all those guys would be in play if they moved back in the second round. I think at 20, you're looking at Keldrick Falk, maybe TJ Parker, which scares the hell out of me. I think Colton Hood for sure. I'd give a fist pump for that. That'd be awesome. Chris Johnson, I love. I'd be in on that. He's been rumored around. But I'm fascinated what they would do if they stayed and picked. I think you're looking at maybe a Hood at 12 if you get wiped, and then at 20, maybe that's Keldrick Falk. I mean, those are kind of the two I've thrown, and it could be vice versa. Falk, I keep hearing not at 12, at 20, sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me, but I think at 12, I'd like to stay and hope that one of these guys slides, and maybe they do. Maybe the Cowboys are right. Maybe they can hold their water, and Downs falls to them at 12.
Okay, I'm going to put you in a little exercise here.
Let's do this.
I'm going to let you stay at 20 and pick that player.
Okay.
But now you got to pick a player at San Francisco at 27.
Okay.
So you're going to drop from 12 to 27. I'm going to ask you to pick a player at your spot at 20, and I'm going to ask you to pick a player at 27 at San Francisco spot. And I'm going to see. I think I'm going to see how committed you really are. And then when you pick the players, I'm going to ask you the question: would you flip them?
Okay.
Okay.
So, am I doing what I think the Cowboys would do here, or is this
first off? You pick who you want at 20, and then pick the other one at 27.
Okay, I'll go Chris Johnson, the corner from San Diego State, at 20.
Okay.
And then at 27. Who do I think realistically has a shot to be there? I'm trying to look at some edges. Let's go.
Would you not take your linebacker there?
I would. I don't.
But it's your board.
I'll take Jacob Rodriguez.
Okay,
27.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would you flip them then? Would you take Rodriguez at 20 and Johnson at 27?
No, I wouldn't.
Why not?
Because I have Johnson as a first-round guy. I got Rodriguez at the top of the second.
Okay.
So I'm sticking true to my rankings. I also think there's a better chance that Rodriguez can slide to 27.
Okay.
Versus I think that there's a chance Chris Johnson could get picked off before that.
Okay. So you're willing, you want to go get Chris Johnson because you've got him as a first-round player.
I've got him as as my third corner.
Yeah.
in my final first-round corner.
Yeah. So there was no way of. There's no way of making you think.
I can't flip there. I can't do it.
Is there a scenario where you could flip the two guys? What if you did? Where do you have Hood?
I have Hood at the top of the second. He's my fourth corner.
Okay, could you flip Hood and Rodriguez then? If you took Hood at 20 and Rodriguez at 27, would you consider? Which one do you think is more likely to get to 27?
I still think Rodriguez. Yeah. I mean, I think Buffalo might. Buffalo could snipe him. Buffalo right ahead of me makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
But I think Rodriguez is still maybe the more likely one than Colton Hood. I think there probably is a lot more love for Colton Hood than we've talked about.
Oh, sure.
He's a really good player.
Sure.
So the one that I did consider was Malachi Lawrence, the edge from UCF.
So you were thinking about taking Lawrence at 27?
Yeah. Because I think Lawrence has the potential to be that next really star pass rusher of the next group. Like I do like Zion Young, but I think there's some elements. I think Zion Young's a better pass rusher than Keldrick Falk.
Yeah.
But there's some similar elements where like he's a good all-around edge. If I really want the twitchy pass rusher, I think Lawrence at 27 would be a really nice pick.
All right, I'm going to do another thing to you then. Maybe this is where it's at. You're going to make your pick at 12. Mm-hmm. But you're going to take 20 and you're going to move to 31.
Okay.
So now pick me a player at 12 and pick me a player at 31.
So at 12, I'm going to hope Downs makes it and give me Caleb Downs. I still think Downs, because of the safety element of it, he's got the best chance to slide, which is not fair to him. He should be in consideration to go 2 to the Jets as far as I'm concerned. He's that damn good. But give me Downs at 12. And this is an interesting one. I think I'd still like Rodriguez. Yeah.
Where do you think the line on Rodriguez stops? Where do you feel like that you can go on a board? Where do you feel like that you have to stop? Now you mentioned Buffalo.
Yeah.
You mentioned Buffalo. So you're probably thinking you got to stay ahead of Buffalo, but if you don't, say Buffalo doesn't take him.
51 at Carolina.
That's the line?
Yeah, I don't think Carolina would pass on him at 51. I think Dan Morgan's a big fan of his. I think he's in the consideration personally at 19. I don't think they'll do it, but I think he's in the conversation. I think 51 is kind of the floor for me for Jacob Rodriguez.
So any pick you get, any pick that you trade back, would Rodriguez be your number one trade back candidate?
Yeah. It would be Rodriguez. It would be Malachi Lawrence.
Right. You said, yeah.
And then it would be probably we'd get into the corners, Chandler Rivers from Duke.
You would go get your Nick. Would you look at any of those?
Deontay Scott from
But
Miami.
you took down, so you're out of the nickel. You're out of the nickel corner situation. Nickel corner.
But I mean, if I didn't, let's say Styles fell. Let's say the league view Styles like you view Styles. And he is a guy that at 12 is maybe more like his range.
Sure.
And you could be right about that. Then Traden Stukes is a guy I'd consider.
I absolutely.
I think he's perfect for what the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was on with Jeff Kavanaugh. We were doing Trusted Tape, and we were talking about Stukes.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, and I kind of feel like that where you would take Stukes, I think where you would totally feel comfortable with Stukes is that pick at 39 if you made the Cleveland trade.
Yeah.
Stukes at it. Okay, do the Cleveland trade, and you're still with Rodriguez because you got him to 51. You said that.
Right. I think you can still get Rodriguez hopefully at 30. Now, you might not. I mean, I've seen the Giants take him at 37 in David's mock. So let's say Rodriguez doesn't make it.
Yeah.
At 39.
See, I took at 37 when the Giants had me do it. I gave him Mawanoa and I gave him C.J. Allen at 37.
Okay.
Is what I did.
I'd love it if they did that.
Yeah.
Because I've got Rodriguez and Hill ahead of Allen.
Yeah.
So that'd be good. If I wanted one of those guys at 39, I'd take both those guys. I think Anthony Hill Jr. would be great. Rodriguez would be great. I think Deontay Scott out of Miami could be in play there at 39, and I wouldn't mind that pick whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be looking there. I'd be looking at A.J. Halsey. I think Halsey's probably more of a 3 to others. I've got him in kind of the second round conversation. Maybe it's Wheatley from Penn State. I think that could be fun there as well. But there's also, I mean, like they did a lot of work on defensive tackle. Like, does that make you a little more? I'd be interested in Peter Woods from Clemson if he were there.
See,
or Cade McDonald from Ohio State.
Why do I feel like I would take Peter Woods over Falk?
Ooh, I don't hate that.
I mean, if you said,
in fact, you know what? In my stack, I've got Woods ahead of Falk. So yeah. Because they're both similar in the fact that, like, I know they're both going to be really good against the run. I think Woods might actually, because if they're playing Falk as a 3-down lineman anyway, it's going to be more of that 4 to 5 tech. I'd rather maybe just have Peter Woods at that role.
Yeah.
And I think you've got the versatility then if you want to go to that 4-down line, and you're switching in nickel or dime. I think Woods gives you more inside of maybe what you're lacking with a Kenny Clark in terms of pass rush ability.
Yeah.
I would consider Woods.
Let me run this by you real quick then. This is how I'm on my top 100. I got Malachi Lawrence at 21. Chris Johnson at 22, and Peter Woods at 23.
Okay.
I'm interested. Of course, you really love Johnson, and you would take him because you have a first round grade, so you take him over Lawrence.
Yeah.
How about where you are with Woods and Lawrence then?
Wow, I've got them basically touching. I've got Lawrence one spot ahead of Woods.
Okay.
At 23 and 24.
Which one would make the most sense for the Cowboys?
I think Lawrence. I do too. I think Lawrence would be the better pick because he gives you that edge and that speed, that bendy element that you're lacking right now.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely take Lawrence. I'd be thrilled. Any trade back scenario where you're able to get Jacob Rodriguez or Malachi Lawrence, heck, even an R. Mason Thomas, like could he be in play there?
Sure.
And Cassius Howell's a guy that I think in the second round range, I'd be more palatable on as well. I mean, he is one of these guys that maybe I'm doing him a disservice because I'm putting too much emphasis on where were you against Texas and Miami?
Sure.
Because I loved him up until watching those games.
Yeah, but they're going to kill him if they're going to kill him if they're not going to like Bane.
Yeah,
they're not going to. They're not going to take
true.
Hal.
Why would you take? If it's the short arm.
Yeah, it's the
that.
whole thing. If the whole thing, that's the. All right. As we finish up our program for the day, we're finishing up our boards. We're finishing up all the players. We're getting to the point now where we're done watching some tape. Give me two guys you've looked at here, say in the last 4 or 5 days since we did our last show, that you kind of want to highlight then, and give me the round of where you see them at.
Okay, let me look. I've been catching up on some centers. I waited on the centers. Let's talk about Brian Parker, the center from Duke.
Yeah.
6'5", 309. He's similar to like Trey Zune, tackle, and he looks like a center. Like he's got the center body type. He moves really well laterally. I think he can mirror exceptionally well. I think he needs to get better at striking the target when he's able to get out in space. He's not always able to get there with authority, but I think he's got a really good anchor. He's got a really good base and pass protection. He finishes well in the run game. He'll put people on the ground. I think the balance he plays was impressive. Hands, plays with a good punch. He's able to play with his eyes. Like you can see him. He's helping other linemen if they need support. He can pick up blitzers. I mean, him being able, and that's important for the center when you're going to project him inside. I think he can add power. That's really a note that I've got with a lot of these centers. I think all of them could really add some power to him. But I mean, it's interesting. He's got his cousin Derek Lively, Dallas Maverick. You got a little connection there. But Brian Parker, the second, the center from Duke at 6'5", 309. And then let me stick with center because the Cowboys have just visited with this guy, Logan Jones from Iowa. Now, if you're an Iowa Hawkeye, and he's 6'3", 299. He's the Remington Award winner, best center in the country, consensus All-American, first-team All-Big Ten, team captain, player council guy, played a lot of football, 50 career games. Now, he's a squatty build. He's a little undersized. He kind of reminds me of Broaddus a little bit when he was coming out of Wisconsin. But he will get defenders off balance and finish blocks. Like he does a really good job of kind of having a plan against some of these guys. I feel like you're going to make it. If you're going to make it as a 4-year starter at Iowa, like you better be damn good at run blocking. And he is. He's a really good run blocker. But you can see him get overpowered in pass protection. But he's got a good base. So he'll sink his hips. So he'll get pushed back, which isn't great, but he's not going to get totally beat. So if you've got an aware quarterback that can slide, yes, you're getting pushed back into the lap of the quarterback, but you're not losing the battle to where now you've got a free rusher. Quarterback's still going to have a chance to possibly make a play. He can climb to the second level. He's not always the best puller. It's not always clean with him. He can get caught in traffic sometimes, not always reach his landmark, but he's got competitiveness, and he's got some nasty to his game. I like him in a zone scheme probably the best, but I do think shot put in his background, won a state title there at discus as well. Those are two guys. I mean, the center draft, these are all like 4th-round guys for me. If you need one, it's not great, but you got a cluster there. I think like 3rd, 4th round of guys that you could sell people on. I mean, I think Connor Lew from Auburn's another guy that I like. I've got him a little bit higher than those other guys. But Logan Jones and Brian Parker the second doing some catch up on center because it wasn't a class that really I wasn't excited about watching them. But some of them kind of surprised me in a pleasant way. That I was okay.
You really like is it Heck from
Sam Heck's my top guy
from Kansas State.
Kansas State.
Right. Yeah, I think this is an unusual draft for centers because a lot of them are that undersized guys, 300 pounds, 309. That's something you're going to have to deal with. And a lot of these guys are really, really good athletes.
Yeah.
And you worry about them how much will they get matched up one-on-one? We've seen it with guys, what happens a little bit. You've seen where Tyler Lindenbaum goes and has success. But then you see John Michael Schmitz not have success. So you're kind of a little bit of the mercy of your guy and how they play there. So
I did want to ask you about when we're going through this process. And I know Voch has commented on this on Doing All Right. It's like the projection stuff with Voch. He's not as big on. So when you're and I think like Reese has some of this to him.
Right.
where I'm projecting as an edge.
Right.
Did he do that a lot? I mean, you do see him win.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like, okay, I don't like the comp of him player to player with Micah. I like the comp of him. I think a team could start him at off-ball linebacker like Micah, and then you're going to realize, well, this guy is just a freak at rushing the passer, and why are we going to waste our time with him as an off-ball linebacker? That's the comp for me. But like when we get into our Sonny Styles debate, right? I do think some of Styles is projection because I think the things that you and I know Voch have talked about, you see, especially early in the season, not being able to take on the second level blocks, scraping, disengaging the hands, in really downhill, finding the right run fits. You see him improve from the Texas game all the way to Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. I think that was like the grandioso performance for him. So I'm going to bet on that guy to be able to continue to grow.
Yeah.
And I think he's an ascending player to me. But you're right. Like that's where you could also fall into maybe that guy doesn't do it. And now you've got a bust on your hands. So how do you weigh that? The projection versus like what you've seen.
Listen, I like Styles, and I know that you and I've had this discussion about him. I think there's things with Styles like you talked about playing with the hands. I think he got better at that. He has only played the position for 2 years. 2024 is when he started, and there's times when you do see him, people send him the wrong direction. You see him like, where are the eyes? Where's the awareness? Where's the instinct? You see a guy that communicates really well. You can watch him and Downs talk all the time, but are you worried about like if you're taking a guy, say you trade up for him? You're taking a guy that maybe where's the learning curve? Yeah, it's Ohio State, and yeah, he's only played it for a couple of years, but there's the athletic ability, there's the talent, there's the testing, there's all those things. But can people fool him? Can they take him one direction? Can they move him because he's not really sure of where he's supposed to be? And I mean that not busting on plays or being in the wrong, but can you misdirect him? Can you move him one way? Can you those are the things. If he was a guy that had been playing the position for a long time, then maybe you feel a little bit different. I know that you and we went through and we've heard some comparisons, about he might be Jamin Davis from Kentucky, who was a second round pick.
Didn't turn out well,
but big guy, physical guy, and that kind of. So if you're telling me if NFL people are saying, well, the comparison is, and I know that's not the only one, there's some other comparisons to the player. I'm just saying that the film told me one thing, the workout clearly elevated him in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
Like when you all of a sudden people are like, a guy that big jumps that far and runs that fast. I get it. I mean, and I think it happened with Thieneman too. I think it's
Definitely.
like all of a sudden it's like the testing numbers come in and it's like, we're just going to push this guy up the board.
Well, it happened with Jacob Rodriguez, right?
Jacob Rodriguez. I think Jacob Rodriguez is you and I have had this discussion about Jacob Rodriguez a lot. In the first off, and you've been real consistent about Jeff Kavanaugh has been real consistent about Downs. He loves Downs. He loved Downs when he first watched tape of him. You said the same thing about Jacob Rodriguez. I think we all kind of dig in on a guy. We dig in on a guy. And I know I've kind of dug in, not in a bad way about Styles. I do have the questions about the misdirection, and I do have some questions about the experience. That's it.
Which is, that's totally fair.
And if, because what's going to happen is you pick Sonny Styles. Long term, Sonny Styles could be great for you once he learns. But can you right now afford to have a guy? That's why, to me, when you start to talk about guys like a Rodriguez or people that have played the position for the majority of their career, it's a little bit different. I'm projecting Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh to be one of those nickel safety hybrid guys.
Yeah.
I've never seen him play nickel safety hybrid guy. I've seen him play linebacker. I've seen him run guys down, but I don't have a first round grade on him.
Yeah.
I have him in the third round. It's a little bit easier to make that projection when it's not talking about the 5th overall pick or the 6th overall pick or something like that. And
yeah, because you're going to lose your job. Like if Sonny Styles doesn't hit and you're moving up to take him, he's a talent to where
he is super.
I saw the growth enough to where I'm like, I believe in this kid. He's going to do it in the NFL.
Sure.
But I also get the fact of like, if I'm going to do this, I got to see that I'm 100% sure.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then you're not down to move up and take a guy like that because I could end up losing. I might be working, in NFL media instead of drafting players in the draft.
Might be doing a podcast with you and I for sure. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today here on Stack. A couple of things I need for you to do. And my guy Jacob Ray, who is our executive producer of the show, tells me, put me on camera 1, Jacob. Put me right there on camera 1. He tells me, listen, folks, you like our program, you also can subscribe to our program. If you're one of those guys or gals that hasn't made a decision yet, and I've seen that because I looked at the metrics, there's like 60% of you that subscribe, and there's 30-something% that don't. If I could get you 30% to subscribe to our channel here at Crown Global Media, I would surely appreciate that. That means a lot to us. We're going to continue to have content. Listen, people are going to go away in the off season, not this crew. We're mini camps, we're OTAs, we're constantly talking about team building. Crown Global Media is not going to take a break. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to have content for you. And you might get tired of us, but if that's the case, great. I mean, I hope not. But if you can, Jacob says, please, Brian, remind them. Like and subscribe to our content. We would sure appreciate that. Another thing that I could also tell you about is the Strange Lady t-shirts. We're running out of days. We're running out of days on the Strange Lady. And if I could get it right here, I will show you. Yep, we got this. We've got the Strange Lady, and we're running this through the end of the draft. That's on crownglobalmedia.com. If you want to get you one of those t-shirts, a lot of folks have. It's a really comfortable t-shirt. So appreciate if you would look into that. We've also got all our stuff on that for other things, for our hats, for the hoodies. I just knocked something down at the bottom of the desk.
You didn't sneeze on yourself.
Vach said that's content. That's great. But all the merch is on that stuff. You can look at that. We've also too got William Boykins, our very talented IT creator, whatever you want to call William. I worked with him at DallasCowboys.com, but he built our site. He's got a way for you to go on and do your own top 100. You could stack your top 100 as a way of typing things out, follow the directions, post it, and then it sorts it out for you. Post that. I'm going to take a look at all that. And we'll maybe have a show where we talk about some of your guys' top 100.
I'm working on it right now.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, we're going to do some shows. Aisha, Zach, Vach, and I, we're going to do a top 100 show where we're talking about our guys next week. So as I'm just saying, there's a lot going on here at Crown Global Media, a lot going on. So we do appreciate everybody out there. And again, for my scouting buddy, Zach Wolchuk, for Aisha Morrison, for all our guys in the back, for Jacob Ray, who does an excellent job with Zach Rowe as well, who does sometimes work with us on this show. We appreciate everybody out there. And we'll see you next time. We'll be closer to the NFL draft, and we'll walk you through some more things. And once again, continue to trust your eyes. Take care.